YouTube, what's good? It's your boy Marvin with Elegantanomaly Reptiles. Back with another vlog for you guys. Got a little late night feeding going on here tonight. And hadn't done a video for you guys yet this week. And I'm sitting here thinking like, man, like, let's do a little late night rambling. Just kind of some things I'm thinking about in regards to my own collection and what we're doing over here, man. Before we get into that though, my ramble, I want to give a shout out to Joel at State 48 and Adam over at Beach Bum Exotics, and obviously the Reptiles Unplugged podcast, man. They had a banger on this week with Justin Kabelka on there with Jay Kabelka Reptiles, JKR as he's known. And that interview, man, was just phenomenal. And it was really kind of timely for me, man, just because like I was already thinking about the collection and pairings for next year. And it got me thinking just because, you know, in the hobby, we have kind of this unwritten rule that we kind of don't really talk about money or the financial aspect of it because we're caring for live animals. And it doesn't really matter if we're talking about a normal, or we're talking about, a $10,000, sunset combo, right? All these animals they all have value because they're living, breathing beings, right? So there's that aspect of it too. But at the same time, people out here building, taking their hobby and turning it into a business, or they're getting in this with the idea of having a business, and they're funding it via the animals and social media and that type of thing. So, and as I mentioned before, my background is in the financial industry. So for me, it's really like hard to not understand why people are so adverse to wanting to talk about that. Because the great thing about in my opinion, one of the great things about the hobby is that you can start a business with relatively small means, right? So I think we get a lot of ball envy, as I like to call it, in the hobby. And we take guys like Miguel over at Always Evolving Pythons, and he caught a lot of heat when he got in the hobby because and he caught heat from people that actually didn't really follow his journey, man. He actually kind of got in doing the same thing a lot of us do, which was buying single gene codoms and that type of thing. But then he started dropping big time bucks, buying dope investment, I would call it investment quality animals. And a lot of people in the hobby got ball envy, as I like to call it, because we all just don't have the means to do that. So, I think that at the end of the day, though, you can really, and this is kind of my personal outlook, I think you can really build a really investment quality collection without initially, it's going to have to at some point, but initially, you can do it without buying investment, quote unquote, investment quality animals. So, it'd be really kind of dope if more people kind of talked about that aspect of it, because I think that would hopefully appeal to a larger audience of folks, because at the end of the day, I think that's what most people are doing. It's really kind of nice and kind of take this kind of MTV Cribs aspect of it, where you see people doing this great stuff that you financially don't have the means to do, and you go, man, that's so cool. It'd be really dope to spend $15,000 with Justin over JKR and pick up 2 or 3 really just high-end investment quality animals. But how do you go about that and building that kind of army, as we like to call it, or that foundation, without doing that? And the great thing I think now is that when you're getting in the hobby, like, there are so many avenues you can kind of go down and still not spend a lot of money if you don't have the means to do so, but create something for yourself in a collection that's really kind of cool. So something's kind of difficult for me to talk about, because I think from my standpoint, I tell people that here in Arizona, where I am, when we have conversations, that I don't really feel like I have anything very cool, to be honest. I actually even have a clutch that I just cut today. I'm not going to do a cutting video on it because I just don't think it's very cool. However, it's much needed for my collection. So that's part of this as well, is that when you're getting into it and you're purchasing animals, or you're doing your pairings, a lot of times, at least for me, man, I'm creating stuff for my collection because I feel like I'm at this point where I had a good base of just kind of single gene animals when I got in the hobby, like just a single gene, like Orange Dream. This female here, man, she just laid a little while back, but I'm gonna grab her out, and she's not back on food yet. But this single gene Orange Dream girl that I got from Nerd was one of my most expensive purchases back in the day. She was like $900, and now you get a single gene Orange Dream female, a couple $100, right? So yeah, it's really interesting. You can take that, and if you have a vision for if you like hypo or pieds or clown or puzzle, whatever, you can really kind of take just a select few animals and take a look at, let's say, puzzle, right? Because I love the puzzle project. I don't have any of it yet, but you can take that and say, hey man, like I want to get involved with puzzle, but I don't have a whole bunch of money. How do I go about that? You can take a look at the project. What first thing I would say is research the project. Very first thing, research the project, because it doesn't really matter if you're getting in the hobby with a couple $100 or you have 25 to 50 grand to drop into just snakes. We all need one quality, which is patience. So you can take that puzzle project and say, hey look man, like I don't have $1,000 or $2,000 to drop on per animal. How do I get into that project effectively without doing that, right? And the great thing is right now you can pick up some really dope animals that have genes that work well in that project, and whether it's pastel or Orange Dream, or I think some of the, speaking of State 48 Joel, earlier in the video, he has some Mojave puzzle stuff I saw personally just freaking phenomenal. The Blue Eyed Lucy stuff works really well in that. These are genes that you can pick up relatively inexpensively. You can pick up 3, 4, 5 females and not really spend that much money. If you wanted to, you could drop $100 per female and just buy single genes if you wanted to. The problem with that is kind of the same problem I'm running into over here, is that because I've been making a lot of my own hets. Space. Think about space when you're doing this stuff too, because if you're thinking, hey look, you have 3, 4, 5 single or codom animals that work really well, that you think works really well in the puzzle project, and it has a little vision, that you have a little vision for the direction you'd like to take that project, you're gonna need space, tub space. Even with 3, 4, 5 females, you're getting 6 eggs a clutch. You do that first season, you have 25 easy 35 babies, half of which are probably going to be holdbacks. You're very quickly gonna run out of space if you only have a small area to work with. So a little late night rant, man. I just kind of was thinking about a few things, wanted to kind of do a quick little video and record some of that stuff. Just wanted to kind of get these thoughts out there publicly and create some conversation, some discussion about that. Would love to have you guys kind of chime in the comments below, because I think there aren't enough folks talking about building collections. I think I'm kind of building somewhat of a pretty cool base of things to do. Hopefully some really cool things with Desert Ghost with over the course of the next year or two. But the power of hets in this will be kind of the third kind of thing I want to touch on before I kind of get out of here, man. The power of hets in that collection, even like I said, going back to that puzzle project, you could buy a visual puzzle male, a year, 2 years in after you growed up some of those females. And that price on that puzzle male, while it's still going to be somewhat expensive, is going to come down in price, right? If you don't have the financial means to do that, buy a guaranteed het. That's what old school breeders used to do, man. They were buying het pies and pairing them off because visual pies were 35 grand, 30 grand, right? And hets were still $1,500. So I think if we kind of take a look back at some of that history, you can really develop a really solid foundation for your collection with some of those females. If you take a look at some of the females that, like even Ozzy was pairing, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago, the footage is out there, like the proof is out there of how to build dope collections. And you need, het females are gold. They're gold. It's why I have a hard time getting rid of any of them, and I hoard everything, because at some point, obviously people, you guys know I'm in the Desert Grows project, but people know when you're selling animals, they go, man, like, even if you haven't produced anything really, really cool yet, they go, man, I know Marvin's and Desert Grows clowns, right? So when they want to get in the project, they can come pick up a het Desert Grows 50% het clown or a few females and go, man, like, let's dive into that project. And I'm kind of all over the place. It's late. I'm tired. Whatever. But, you guys kind of see where I'm going with this as far as, like, the ability to build dope collections, really awesome collections with not a lot of money, and the power of hets within your collections. And, you may not start off with much. It may not seem like much, but it allows you to have a few things going for you where you get to put some of that perseverance and patience in and that time in with the animals. You get to learn your animals. You get to see what a female looks like when she's building follicles, because I'd imagine if you're not dropping a whole lot of money on animals, you're probably not buying an ultrasound either. So there are things that you learn that you can do throughout the process, and then from there you can feel pretty comfortable if you're making your own hets, whatever. You have a little bit more faith in the project because you know the animals that you have, they're guaranteed hets. Or if you have a big enough army of them, you know that you're going to catch some breaks. Some of those hets are going to prove out, even if you're doing het-to-het pairings, het-to-pos-het pairings. A lot of that stuff is that worked back in the day, still works now. So don't be afraid to do it. It's not sexy. Your IG's not gonna go crazy because you're not pumping out these insane combos like I drew over on Ozzy's Instagram or Straight Fire's Instagram, and just insane animals. You're not gonna be pumping that out, and it gets a little like, all right, you got to trust the process. I hashtag that a lot on my IG, man. Trust the process, trust your work, trust what you're putting into the projects. Be excited about what you're doing. Have a plan in place, and you're still eventually gonna produce some really dope animals, some things that even not a whole lot of people aren't producing. If you pick and choose the right morphs for your projects, you'll hatch out dope stuff. And it could just be me doing some wishful thinking on that, because honestly, that's the stage I'm at. I got, I don't feel like I have any fire over here yet. I have a few things that are pretty cool, and but hopefully within the next kind of year or two, we'll see some really dope things hatching out. So this is starting to get a little long, man. I'm gonna kind of cut it off, but it's kind of like my late night rambling. The thoughts are kind of going through my head as I'm trying to get pairings ready, at least on paper, for next year, and what I'm gonna be having, available. Hopefully, a lot of girls hopefully will be in the mix for next year, looking upwards of maybe 15 to 20-ish clutches or more. So yeah, stay tuned is what I have to say. So I'm gonna end this late night rambling. I'm looking here at the time. I've been rambling for about 15 minutes, which is probably about 10 minutes longer than I thought was gonna happen. But I love talking this stuff, man. It's nice to get that out there. So once again, in the comments section, please drop me drop me a line. Let's have a little conversation. Let's rap about how you guys are going about building your collections, especially those of you that aren't dropping investment quality money on your animals. Or at least you didn't do so initially. Maybe you're doing so now. Excuse me, but maybe you didn't do so initially. Would love to have a conversation with you about that in the comments section, man. I think that'd be really helpful for those people in the hobby that are following the channel, that haven't quite gotten to that stage in the hobby yet where they're dropping that kind of money. For me, man, I know it's coming. So soon, probably, this season, I'll have to do that. But yeah. If you haven't done so on the channel, man, hit that subscribe button, man. Drop me a line, like I said. Like, share the video, get that out there. Let's have the conversation. If you haven't done so as well, follow me. I'm on Facebook and Instagram at elegantanomaly. And no matter when you're watching the video, I hope that you're having a blessed, fantastic day. I appreciate you as always. YouTube, you guys be easy. Till next time.